The personal lives of Premier League footballers are constantly thrust under the beady public eye. Some players keep to themselves while others relish in the spotlight. Today we take a deep dive at one of those players as we look at the controversial personal life of bad boy Jack Grealish. Be sure to stick around until the end, where we'll tell you a story that will completely change your mind about the Manchester City winger. Joining boyhood club aged 6, Jack Grealish came up through the Aston Villa Academy and captained them back to the Premier League in 2019. The tricky winger then became the most expensive English player ever in 2021. He signed for Manchester City in a transfer deal worth £100 million. Even at a young age, Grealish has been no stranger to controversy. He rattled an entire country by playing for the Republic of Ireland up to under 21 level before ditching them and committing his future to England at a senior level. Grealish is always one to ruffle feathers on the pitch, but he's been known to do the same in his personal life too. Partying too hard is one thing, but keeping the same frame of mind when it comes to driving is just completely unacceptable. Perhaps his biggest controversies are the ones he's been behind the wheel for. In March 2020, Grealish posted a video urging football fans to stay inside during the UK lockdown. He committed a count of reckless driving just one day later. In an incident in Dickens Heath, Grealish crashed his white Range Rover. He reversed back and mounted a curb before crashing into several other parked vehicles. CCTV footage then showed him get out of his car wearing different coloured sliders on his feet. A security guard chased him down as he got out and said that he could smell an intoxicating liquor in Grealish's breath. He did, however, stay at the scene and pay the damages for the cars he crashed into. His second count of careless driving came in October. Dashcam footage was shown in court of an unmarked police car following Grealish's black Range Rover. Grealish was speeding down the M43 and seemed to force cars out of his way by rapidly approaching them from behind in attempts to undertake. The unmarked police car had to speed up to keep with him and reach speeds of up to 98 miles per hour in order to stay in touching distance. Police followed Grealish to the Villa training ground and finally turned on their sirens to pull him over properly. The Englishman justified his actions by explaining that he was late for training and didn't want to set a bad example for his teammates as he was the captain at the time. He seemed to be gentle and took care with his responses to questioning during the incident itself, and the police were in turn lenient with Grealish. The officer handling it described him as polite, calm and compliant throughout. He seemed to show genuine remorse for his actions, but the speeds which he reached were still completely unacceptable. The City midfielder pleaded guilty to both counts in November that year. Grealish was found £82,499 by the court and was banned from driving for 9 months. The coronavirus pandemic suspended Premier League football, but Grealish still managed to get himself onto the back pages of the papers. We mentioned earlier that he had breached COVID-19 regulations in March 2020. On the same day that he crashed his white Range Rover into the parked cars, Grealish had received a call from a friend asking for him to come round. Against his better judgment, Grealish went over. He was photographed leaving his friend's estate, and the car crash happened soon after. And to remind you once again, this all happened just a day after he urged fans to stay home on social media. Grealish quickly apologised on Twitter with a video telling Villa supporters not to make the same mistakes. His role as captain was called into question by fans and pundits alike, but he was disciplined and fined by the club. The proceeds from the fine were donated to a local charity, the University Hospitals charity in Birmingham. It wasn't the first time he went out during lockdown, and it wouldn't be the last. In December 2020, the captain let his side down once more by attending a teammate's birthday meal. Ross Barkley was on loan from Chelsea at the time, and the pair travelled to Mayfair to celebrate his 27th with a night out. They had travelled from a Tier 3 location in Birmingham to a Tier 2 county in London. Pedestrians filmed them both outside of a crowded restaurant when the rules were that you could only socialise with people that you live with. Despite this breach of lockdown rules, Villa boss Dean Smith opted against punishing the pair. He said that the two ate lunch together every day anyway, and that he didn't see too much of a problem in them travelling out for dinner. Grealish has had a major uptick in his behaviour since moving to Manchester City. His reckless driving ground to a halt, and the Englishman has done well to stay in Pep Guardiola's good books. The midfielder did, however, let a little loose last year, rightfully celebrating City's Premier League win with a few drinks at the title parade. He may have had a couple too many, however, as he acted a little too tipsy on stage as the night progressed. Just 24 hours after the final day of the season, City took their 8th Premier League trophy on tour. Their journey ended on a special stage built for the back-to-back champions, where Grealish stole the show. He was clearly under the influence of alcohol, clutching a drink in each hand as he celebrated his first major tournament win. But in all fairness, he lived his best life on the microphone and had an endless supply of jokes for the City crowd.
You drink this down.
No, it's unbelievable. You know, this is what I come here for. I've always said it, to win medals and stuff. So to do this is just the best.
Grealish cheekily joked that teammate Bernardo Silva's performance on the last day of the season was shocking and told the crowd that they won because he was subbed off early on. He teased Kyle Walker by saying that he was the only winger who could beat him one-on-one.
Me, when I was at Aston Villa, that's why Pep signed me.
Okay. Yesterday was a very special day for you, 2-goal hero.
And through all of his jokes, he wore his sunglasses the whole time, eventually hoisting up a fan on his shoulders and swinging around the Premier League trophy itself. While he probably had a couple too many that night, it's not like Grealish broke the law, and football players are allowed to drink to celebrate from time to time. It's a far cry from his old way of life, and Grealish really does seem disciplined now that he's joined Manchester City. Perhaps it's the fear of Guardiola's wrath, or being replaced by one of their many star wingers. But either way, he seems to have everything under control now, and has started to become more of a role model for City and England fans alike.
Jack Grealish soaks it up.
And despite all of his previous wrongdoings, Grealish has made some serious amends through his constant charity work. He's become known for supporting good causes in the Birmingham area and has worked hard to expand this at his new club in Manchester. Grealish raffled off a match-worn shirt in which he scored a winner against rivals Birmingham City. That auction raised over £55,000 for the NHS. But we think his most heartwarming moment was when he went out of his way to help a disabled Manchester City fan. Grealish was on his way into the Etihad in February 2022 when he spotted Abby in the crowd. He surprised the emotional fan with a signed shirt, taking time out of his day to come over and chat to her. She was left sobbing cheerfully as he embraced her in her wheelchair, and Grealish himself looked to have tears in his eyes over the moving moment. It proves that no matter the trouble he's found himself in, the Englishman really does care about the fans and the consequences of his actions. Whether it be for Villa or for City, Jack Grealish goes above and beyond to help the fans. We really do think that despite his scandals, he's got a heart of gold underneath all that controversy.